At a distance of 37 kilometers from the city of Saint-Trenant in France, above the deep water of the Atlantic Ocean, there is a deserted lighthouse. And a special thing is said about this lighthouse that whoever guards this lighthouse will be given an annual salary of $1.2 million. This amount amounts to 32 crore rupees. But despite that, since 1991, no one here has agreed to do this job. And after knowing the reason behind this, you will have long legs. Welcome to another episode of ARC TV. Thank you very much for your love. Usually, the lighthouse is made on a high place or on the rocks in the sea so that its light can show the right way to ships and boats in the ocean, so that they do not collide with the coast or the rocky road. There are more than 18,000 lighthouses in the world right now, but 4,000 of them are such that they are still fully active. And one of them is such a lighthouse that people are afraid to talk about. This is Legimo Lighthouse. Some people know it as Zoman Lighthouse or Joman Lighthouse, and actually these two names are wrong. Legimo is actually a word in French that expresses a horse. From 1888 to 1904, 31 ships had collided with these rocks in which more than 250 people had lost their lives. And this tower was also built for this purpose so that the incoming ships can be saved from these big and pointed rocks. You will be surprised to know that many people lost their lives while building this tower. This lighthouse began to be built in 1904 and was completed in 1912. This tower is 118 feet high, which took 8 years to build, and 500,000 granite stones and 1,000 tons of concrete were used in its construction. But one thing that amazes everyone is that this lighthouse always collides with sea waves, rains and dust. And here these fast waves of the sea are so high and powerful that they hide this whole lighthouse inside them. These waves collide with this lighthouse at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. When they collide with this lighthouse, the walls of the lighthouse shake completely. December 5, 1991, this was a stormy day in history when 60 feet high waves were colliding with this lighthouse. At that time, the guard of the lighthouse was barely golfing, who was doing his duty inside it at that time, and he was completely scared in this storm. Suddenly he heard the sound of a helicopter outside, thinking that someone outside has come to help him. But that helicopter was of John Cushert, who was a photographer, and he was photographing the sea storm that day. As soon as he reached the door of the lighthouse, a powerful wave rose from behind the lighthouse and took him with it. As a result, he dies and his body is not found anywhere in the sea. But a photo of that time is definitely found, which was made by John Cushert from the same helicopter. After which this lighthouse becomes very famous, and along with this photo, some things also become very famous, which makes this lighthouse even more scary. Looking at this strange lighthouse, often people wonder why it was necessary to make this lighthouse and why it is necessary that the light of this tower should always be bright. To know the history behind it, we will have to go back a few years. This was the time when there was no road to travel and there were no cars. The safest and best way to travel for a long time was the sea. But there was a problem here too, and that was the sudden disappearance of ships in this sea. People used to leave the sea but never returned, because 71% of our world is spread over the sea, and if we collect the land of the whole world in one place, even if we combine the 7 continents, the Pacific Ocean will be much larger. When sailors used to travel in this sea in ancient times, they did not know how far the next land was from them, because navigation was the biggest problem of the world at that time. At that time, there was no GPS system like today. These sailors had to see the sun to see their direction and had to track the stars to see the road at night, and in the beginning they used to depend on some navigation tools which helped them to find their way to the sea to some extent. But when a storm came hundreds of kilometers away in the sea, these ships completely lost their direction, because of which they wandered in the ocean for months, and then because they could not find land, they were killed by starvation in the sea. There was an incident that shook everyone in the sea at that time. In 1857, a ship named Huntsman Bay, which was going from London to Canada with 200 passengers, had a lot of food and commercial goods in this ship. After a day's journey, when this ship reached Azores Island, a huge sea storm collides with it, and this storm is so powerful that the ship is out of the control of the pilot and the crew, and as soon as he sees it, he collides with a sharp rock in which more than half of the ship is scattered, and more than 200 people die in this incident who were on board this ship. 1,600 years before this incident, the world's first lighthouse was launched. Near the Mediterranean Sea of Egypt was the ancient city of Alexandria. This was the biggest problem for this kingdom, the location here, Looking at this map closely, ships and ships had to pass through here to reach the shore of this city, and there were a lot of sharp rocks and stones around it. When the ship passed through here at night for trade, these wooden ships collided with them, and the ship was filled with water, and the ship sank with all the goods. At that time, the king of this kingdom, King Ptolemy, called the experts and brilliant architects of that time so that they could help for this solution. All of them together made a very powerful model which could save the ship from not only rocks and rocky roads at night, but also from the pirates of the sea at that time. And if any storm comes, this lighthouse can also alert them. This was a minaret that was 284 feet high, which was made of complete white marble. This tower was built on the shore of Alexandria, on the island of Pharaoh, on which a very big fire was lit at night which kept getting oil and wood supplies all the time. This lighthouse is considered one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world today, and the reason behind it was its design and its antiquity. After that, every kingdom in the world started building this tower. Today, there are many ships in the world which have advanced navigation features, and this is the reason why most of the lighthouses have become useless. Now let's expose some of the things made on this lighthouse which have nothing to do with reality. First of all, let's talk about its annual salary of $1.2 million. Is it true that the workers working on this tower are given 32 crore rupees annually? From 1991, after the incident of the death of Fairleigh Gough, this lighthouse was completely automated, after which no worker came here to work. This lighthouse was directly connected to the satellite so that it could be controlled from a distance. There are still some such lighthouse towers in the world in which people still work. Workers' lives are in danger to work here. They are trained for many months to do this work. No ordinary man can live here for 4 hours. One of the keepers of the lighthouse, Nomo Peters, said that the first night here is very scary because the sea waves are fast here, and when they collide with the tower, it feels like someone has pushed the lighthouse, because of which you can't sleep all night. He also said that I have never felt so alone in my life. The fast winds of the sea made me feel like I was here, and it felt like someone was watching me, and when I looked at the sea, it felt like women were crying from here. Usually, the annual salary of these workers ranges from $70,000 to $80,000. But what is the story of this lighthouse which pays $1.2 million? After hearing such a big figure of salary, 50,000 people from all over the world applied for this job. But the reality of this is something else. Friends, when this tower was built, it cost 100,000 euros to build it at that time, which is almost 29 crore rupees in today's time. My question to you is, how can the salary of the keeper working on a lighthouse which was made in 29 crore rupees be 32 crore rupees? This is a kind of business which is being taken advantage of, and a very big scam is being done with you. Most of the victims of this scam are those who had submitted a form through a fake website for this job, and this is the reality. There are many such mysteries in the world which have been solved. But there is also a mystery which has not been solved yet. And that mystery is the Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. What was the purpose of making these pyramids? And when a team of researchers entered a robotic camera inside it to see inside it, what did they find inside it that